Hello once again, futuristic space dwellers and travellers. So, the second session has come and gone. We played that today, around about 4.5 hours. We managed to play the adventure that comes in the core rule book, so some of you may have already played that, been familiar with it, or are about to do it soon. As such, there will be nothing in the contents of this video that will give spoilers for anyone intending to play the adventure. I don't want to go into too much detail about it for aforesaid reasons. So we were a little bit delayed initially because we had a bit of an issue with the Sister of Battle that was rolled from session 1. I'm thinking of doing a separate video actually covering the details of this, but for reasons that will be explained then I suppose, the Sister of Battle character has been scrapped. She went with us from the end of the last mission and decided to stay behind because our ship was going to the headquarters of her faction back to the Abbey of Dawn. And it was on the planet we were going to, and hence the player rolled a new character, so the GM said, well, okay, we're only one session in, so I'll give you the experience that you'd already played with her, because you're changing character to this cleric now. The cleric's kind of interesting. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail with him, because I'm hoping to do a series where the player characters themselves can explain a bit about their own characters, but I was delaying on that to let them build up the character, the nuances of who they are a little bit more, because something like this, you can put a lot of things into place, and in some cases people did put things into place beforehand, but in a lot of the other times it's the experiences that you encounter that teach you who your character is. And you don't realise it sometimes. Certain things might occur and you say, oh gosh, you know what, he's going to react this way, and this really is a factor of him. And so when they're a little bit further along, I'm hoping that they will be able to tell you about who they play. But anyway, it's quite an interesting take on the cleric. We are a cleric, we are an assassin, we are a scum, and we are an arbitrator. So with this particular configuration, it's kind of like the arbitrator's the one that sort of needs to lead the way a little bit more now, rather than the kind of Sister of Battle-y type person. So it's meant the other player has had to more step up to the mark to try and fill the role of the sensible one. We completed it successfully and got the full complement of experience available for it. One of our number, the arbitrator, got pretty mashed up quite badly at the end fight. Anyone that's ever played an MMO, he was like 5 health away from dying. He's kind of going down the tank route. Well, he's got a shock maul, and he's got a shield that's based on the same principal technology, the shock technology, as the maul as well. So it gives him a lot of protection to his arm and body. Really, you know, as a cop, he is there to serve and protect. He managed to gain a fate point back for doing a certain thing that occurs at the end of that. The arbitrator would spend a fate point in the first session, so he only had 1 left. I rolled 3 when I made my character, gained a 4th one because of my divination, and because of the events of what happened today, I've gained a 5th fate point, which gives me effectively 5 fortune points, 5 fate points expenditures per day, or to burn. We're discussing capping it at 5 to not let it go too high, so I've technically got the max here as what we believe we'll cap it at. Because you don't really want those fate points to get too high, or a lot of people can do re-rolls a bit too much. I did my usual trick of being able to guess what was going on before the GM would like. We had a really quite dynamic moment as well. In the end fight, as I mentioned, with the shield there of the arbitrator, the cleric, he uses a hammer. And he wanted to strike with this melee hammer. He was 2 meters away, but he wished to do a charge. Now, of course, he's unable to charge because you have to at least charge 4 meters, but with a bit of quick communication, which is a free action, between the arbitrator and himself, quickly calling across, the arbitrator came up with an idea of raising the shield in sort of just like a position, the cleric to charge his 2 meters, jump kind of up onto the shield, and then jump off the shield to gain a bit of height, to then come down from some height. So in that way, he's also moved the 4 meters in a way, because he's done that and then done that the other way, but it's off the shield, so it's swept back round and then attack with the hammer in midair, and that's pretty crazy, right? And that's some dynamic GMing there from our guy saying, do you know what? You know, the mechanics say this, but do you know what? I'm down here on the scene, and I'm going to spotlight this, and this is going to happen, and I'm going to make it, whoa, I'm the puppet master, woo! And that's a great GM moment, you know? Now to quickly cover my upgrades. I am now almost in the position, experience spent-wise, to be rank 3 almost, so not quite yet. I've had a look ahead at some of the assassin stuff, and it's the later level stuff that isn't quite so impressive, this rank 6 to 8 stuff. So I've got a feeling I'm going to be spending a lot more in the rank 1 to 5 stuff and the stats as well to try and boost them up. So at 950 experience, I'm still a rank 2, I'm still a Shadesman. Let's just cover what my initial purchases were on the Assassin. With the 400 you get when you start a character, you get 400 to spend straight away when you build it, just so you can personalise it your way out of the box. I bought Sound Constitution ×2, because you're allowed it twice in rank 1, and that was 100 each, and then I spent 100 each on 2 of my easy to purchase stats upgrades, agility and the ballistic skill, plus 5% to those. So this time I paid 250 required instead of the 100, because it's more advanced, for the intermediate ballistic skill, thus giving me a BS of 45% likelihood to hit. But of course, in reality, there's all sorts of modifiers that take into account. Then you might have like a close range thing, making it 65% to hit, and then a half action aim with another 10%, or a full action aim another 20% instead. You know, you've got cooled shots that can put minuses on it. And I spent 100 on Sound Constitution for rank 2, because I can spend from rank 2, so I'm allowed another Sound Constitution, putting my 12 wounds up to 13 wounds today. And I bought Acrobatics for 100 experience as well. Now, the Acrobatics is quite smart for me personally, because it allows Disengage to be used as a half action instead of a full action, and also it aids you in leap jump test sort of situations. Because I'm very ranged and fighty, and I don't really have anything hitty. Once I've been engaged up close, I can't get them full autos going because I'm locked in combat. So if I try to disengage, I can do it as a half action, still have a half action left to sort of pew pew in midair. So that would be nice, wouldn't it? And of course, anyone that's ever played World of Warcraft will appreciate the reference here with it being similar to playing a hunter. So let's just say you're standing at the top of a hill and there's a hill below you. It goes down, and then you disengage down the hill backwards when you use the disengage ability in that, and you're shooting in midair and disappear away from somebody. You know, disengaging's great. Alright, so that's my side of things. We are going to incorporate a quick chat with the GM into this video about this session too, so let's get on to that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lory Cousins, how are you feeling about the campaign, second session along?
So far, it's been pretty interesting, especially in the second session. Everyone has stepped up their game a little, especially Pete with his Arbitrator.
So what, you mean RP-wise, right?
Yeah, RP-wise, their characters have improved quite a bit from the previous session. They've actually started to get towards getting a feel, at least.
He felt a little bit underdeveloped before, didn't he?
Yeah.
The concept was there in place. Noir detective
in the
chain
sci-fi
smoker in the sci-fi world, yeah, but it wasn't really very well implemented. I mean, he's still got a way to go, hasn't he?
He's still got a bit to figure out with what his character is, yeah, but has stepped up to the plate today and made it a bit more of an interesting play session with how he reacted to how everyone was doing their thing, especially with the scum still trying to steal everything, and dear, Pete just
The scum wanted to steal the tarot deck. Anyone that's GM'd this will understand.
Yes. I pretty much was like, oh dear God. I may even have to step in to try and stop this somehow.
Actually, there was a good point where we actually asked, we won't say who, the person who is capable of divining using the tarot cards, okay, to do a divination for us.
Yeah.
What was the result of that divination?
He got a psychic phenomenon because he rolled a 9. If you roll a 9 whilst rolling any psychic power, well, it's an instant problem. Unfortunately, because of the D100 I rolled, it then became a Perils of the Warp. and the dice roll led to him being removed from reality for 7 minutes. Pete's character reacting to just about how the scum trying to steal everything this time was a
Yeah.
little bit more realistic, considering he's meant to be the law.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, because our scum, she wants to keep stealing everything that isn't tied down, because that's obviously how she makes her money. She doesn't get it too much of another way, does she?
No, she has to
her earnings.
do different things to earn money every...
And as such, because we've got an arbitrator with us, a police officer effectively, who spots anyone stealing anything, that can be a bit of a problem, can't
Especially
it?
when it's in your own acolyte group.
Yes, and then when he took her up on it and said, look, this pickpocketing thing's got to stop. If you do it anymore, I'm going to fine you 50 gelt for everything time you steal, right?
Oh, yeah.
And her answer to him was, well, that's fine. You won't see me steal anything else. You won't see me steal anything else. See there? That was good.
Oh, dear. One point that really stood out for me with Pete,
Yeah.
it was his little speech to another member of the one of the factions in the in the game. It was really quite the moment.
It was the Braveheart moment.
Pretty much.
Well, it was actually trying to influence and
The way he did it, I just decided, okay, you're not going to need a fellowship test for this one.
trying to change somebody's mind. They're trying to do one thing and you're trying to stop them and say, hey, no, wait, consider this. But yeah, the GM didn't ask for a roll because he was so impressed by the actual player's speech. He just said, well, yeah, this is what's happening. And that's a good thing. The less you have to roll dice, the better, really, with a role player, isn't it?
When you're too busy focused on, oh, I've got to roll the dice again, it kind of drags the whole thing down and makes it lag out. And people get bored.
Every time you actually roll the dice, you take yourself that little step further away out of the immersion and more into, oh, I'm sitting here playing a game.
It's
really.
at that point you start to get bored. If the dice rolling starts to take the front, then it's becoming too much of a game and not really fun.
Now, as we sometimes like to do, let's ask you this. What, from a GM's perspective, GM-wise, about your own play and about your own experiences, not what the players did, was the most positive part of the day for you?
There's this one point where the entire group are surrounded by enemies on all sides. They're in a camp type place, and the enemies are just swarming in. Now, there's supposed to be gates up at this point because, well, the cleric pretty much shouted out to everyone, "Get those gates raised." At this point, the group then decided that they needed to take about a 5-minute section to figure out what to do next. What orders they're going to give out next. During this time, I decided that, okay, you've taken this amount of time length, they've broken through the gates, they're swarming through, it's taking too long, things are happening whilst you're deciding what you're going to do.
So you've made a GM's call there based on the player's real-time length of talking about what they're going to do, just to hurry things along. I thought that was a good idea. Because you as a GM, you don't want to start getting bored.
If I just sat there and let them talk and talk and talk and talk, it's going to take forever, and then, okay, so you guys have just made a decision and nothing else has happened.
You'll lose that sense of energy, because you've announced the event. It's a big event. There's a lot going on, so you're expecting action, noise, people everywhere, bodies, voices, and then silence while everyone's just chatting, nattering about what's going to happen.
Basically, in the background, everyone's just standing there, Can I hit him yet?
So basically, we're actually having this discussion, trying to shout over all the voices while danger gets closer and closer, and the GM's notifying us, well, you've taken this long, so such and such has happened. And then again, oh, now you've taken this long, such and such has happened.
Pretty much. It's like,
that was good. That was a good moment.
It's like, okay, you're trying to get the people inside the building.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, there's some guys coming rushing at you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, a group can get bogged down like that. So, you know, as the GM, you can really kickstart things going again by thrusting the actual situation back in their faces and start punishing them with it.
If there's no threat to them, then people are just going to stand there and just do nothing.
It's all about the energy, isn't it? And you've got to give your GM the energy. And if you just stand around chatting like that, you're going to make him less enthusiastic about trying to run it for you, aren't you?
And pretty much everyone's going to get bogged down. They're going to slow. It's going to take forever, and the game will just drag on. And realistically, it'll just seem like you've got nowhere fast.
Conversely, on the opposite side of the coin, what for you as a GM was your darkest moment this day?
There was this one point where the group was speaking or questioning a character. I ended up getting a real mind block at this point. And it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Completely confused. I'm looking at the book. I'm trying to figure out what he should be saying, how he's meant to react, and, well, I've messed myself up because I've done things in a particular order that make it hard for me to try and even get out, but...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We ended up speaking to someone we weren't even supposed to be speaking to at all.
Yeah.
Were we even supposed to meet them, ever?
Yes. But because of the way you did things later on, it kind of skipped that section.
Right, okay.
Like you guys... Like you and Pete seem to always seem to be able to manage again as well. You always skip major sections.
Okay.
Like you did in the Warhammer section. You skipped a whole chapter.
The U2 song, Stuck in a Moment, comes to mind, isn't it? You got yourself stuck in a moment that you can't get out of. Or you felt like you couldn't. Some of the players could see, well, look, why don't you just deal with it this way? Or like... Basically, you ended up... You didn't want us really there speaking to that person, did you? And
not for the length of time that happened, no.
The longer, and we didn't know that because we thought we were meant to be there, but we somehow slipped into this thing. Lory was being really open and letting us go along, thinking, do you know what, I'll let them do anything, But...
I thought I was ready to try and go for it, but I obviously wasn't.
He needed to herd us out and along a lot quicker before he ended up
in a place where my mind was just shutting down.
Up to his neck in it. Didn't really have anything more for this guy to be able to tell us or to be of any more use. But we didn't like something about the situation that we were getting.
Yeah.
And we were trying to pursue it more because we thought...
That's the thing about this group. Every character they speak to, they don't trust him. They don't like them.
But to be fair, we do work for the Inquisition.
Yes, that's the thing about this Inquisition. Divided we stand, united we fall is a nice quote from this Imperium.
What we suggested that Lory could have done there with this character is to have maybe herded us out. Oh no, well, it was a chieftain-like type person. It was a boss type person. So someone could have run in quickly and said, "Oh, we need you over here. Someone's just fought with somebody and done something. It's like I don't have any more time for you. I've got to go. Or look, just go now because I've got to make preparations." Or, I don't know, we get a comms come through and say, look, we need you over at such and such. Or we get a comms from the person we're actually supposed to be seeing, directly contacting us, getting narky at us, saying, look, you were supposed to be here by now. What are you doing? We'd have been like, oh, well, we better go there. And it could have been maybe like a GM hint. But instead, you kind of let yourself get swamped by it, didn't you?
Yes, I mean, Pete was asking questions. Craig, the cleric, who played the cleric character, was asking questions. I mean, even the scum ended up asking a few questions in... her own fashion.
Now, one thing did occur that was quite interesting. The one thing that they say you should never ever do, and that is split the party. We had a situation where the place the party really needs to be to find the trouble, we could find out more information about where the trouble's going to be before we deal with the trouble, is not going to be able to be at the place, leaving the place. We wanted to cover that base, yet also cover this base, so we don't miss any information over here. So we had two of the party go with the person that might give us the information. And it only worked out that way as well because of the weird way we did it.
Oh, yeah.
Because we should have maybe even been in a combat encounter with that person that's now helping us. But because of the way we went about things...
There could have been a possible combat encounter with that depending on how you could have reacted to it.
They instead liked us.
Yeah, you can thank Pete for that.
So... As such, two of us were standing by at the place, holding out, and two of us were off gaining the information. It worked out all right, didn't it?
Yeah, well, they say don't split the party constantly in all these things because it can be either dangerous for the characters or troublesome for the GM to have to worry about different sections going on, especially if the party splits up into single players all over the place. Then that can be problematic.
Maybe it's the way we did it was okay because it was... They didn't go too far apart from each other because we worked out that something that was going to go down in about 2 hours' time, if it was going to go down, it would have been like 2 hours' ride to go to the place where they wanted to take us, to talk to us. That wasn't going to work out. An hour ride back, it would have been too late. So I came up with a suggestion of why don't we ride 15 minutes out if you don't want to do it here. It's a neutral ground. It's barren. Talk out in the barrens. I survived Baron's chat, so can they. Bloody wow.
It affects everything.
So the party wasn't separated for long. So maybe that was the key element here. It was controlled separation.
Pete's arbitrator, constantly, before any combat started, use non-lethal force.
Yeah, we did.
I want to question them afterwards.
We did all right with that, didn't we?
Pop, you blew a guy's leg off and killed him outright.
I got a righteous fury. What can I say? I got a bloody righteous fury on the wing. I was going for Cold Shot's leg. I managed to take one guy down in his leg and make him fall unconscious from pain.
And smack him in the face with the gun.
And then, yeah, smack him with the butt of the gun, in case he thought about trying to get back up again. But there was another one who was attacking the cleric, and he had taken a good chunk out of the cleric. So I was like, right, that's you. I'm going to shoot you in the leg.
Your righteous spirit, his leg off.
Yeah, I pretty much like blew his foot right off, and he bled out all over the floor.
And then there was the one later on where you shot this guy with the auto gun full burst. It was like 4 shots. It was like boom, 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 boom. Basically killed him straight outright because of how many hits you put on him.
Well, it was the Holy Cross, wasn't it, really?
Pretty much.
With the gun.
Holy Cross with the gun.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do an Imperial Eagle with the gun?
Yeah.
That would have been really holy in this session.
Well, I'd have needed more of the bullets to get through.
True.
Well, that brings us to an end then, but fear not and cry not. Let not your tears make your keyboards wet and electrocute you, for we will be back and cover lots of other aspects of things for you. And we'll do our best not to burn out on all of this.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see you next time at the next video. Cue the outro titles. And hey, check out the blog there.